Good morning. Welcome to today's lesson. Let's start by making sure you get logged into Clever. All right, so for your warm up today, if you had a magic wand or fairy godmother or a genie in a bottle, whatever we want to say, what would you change about yourself and about your life instantly? So, welcome to lesson 23 of week 12. Today, we are starting to dive into looking at the patterns that allow us to understand and predict on the periodic table. So some reminders, we are getting to the point where it is almost the end of the second 6 weeks. It's kind of nuts, but that's where we're at. So grades are going to be updated on Infinite Campus. There might be some missings or zeros or things being put in. Please make sure that you're paying attention to that and that you are focusing on getting that fixed as quickly as possible. In the same sense with Edpuzzle, make sure that you are completing the Edpuzzles that you are required to do. So anything with a number sign in front. So numbers, this week you have number 50 and 51. Those are both Edpuzzles. They are required. They are not just if you don't make it to this lesson or to the lesson. Please make sure that you're doing those. Particularly the week previews are meant to be like easy peasy free points. They're just a couple of minutes to go over what we're doing this week, and the questions are not challenging. So I really highly recommend doing those. Remember to be safe, be responsible, be respectful, be prepared, and be here as our students in our digital classroom. And try your best to come into the live lessons. I'm glad that you're here right now watching the recorded version, but the live lessons are just more engaging. You have the opportunity to ask me questions, and I can see your responses in real time and help you out. So really do try and get there to those. But thank you for being here now, for giving me your best, for showing up for yourself, and for your dedication to your schoolwork. Let's do this. So today we are talking about patterns. We're introducing this idea of patterns so that we can start to look for and identify the patterns found in the periodic table of elements. So it is a good idea to usually have the periodic table open. It should maybe just be one of those tabs that you save at the top for all times during this unit, because it is the unit about the periodic table. Let's start with this warm-up though. Remember, taking a look here at at the element symbol, remembering this top number is your mass, this bottom number is the atomic number, and this number here is the charge, which is going to affect your electrons. So go through and fill that out for me now. All right, so what you should have gotten is the atomic number of 7, because again, this bottom number, that is the atomic number. Nitrogen always has the atomic number of 7. It also always has 7 protons, because that's literally what makes it nitrogen. The atomic mass is the number on the top here, number 16. We can use those two numbers, the mass minus the protons, to tell you the neutrons. 16 minus 7 is 9. The electrons now, okay, it usually, if it's neutrally charged and there's nothing up here, it would usually just be 7 as well. But because it has a -3 charge, that means that there are 3 more electrons than there are protons. There's 3 more negatively charged things than there are positively charged things. So it has a -3 charge, and that means 10 electrons. Now, you're going to talk me through how many, what's going to go in the nucleus and how many electrons are going to be in each shell. Super. So what we should have gotten, I can't do math, so that should say 9, but 7 and 9, 7 protons, 9 neutrons. And then our electrons, we have to get up to 10. So we can have up to 2 in the first shell. We fill that shell up, then we move on to the next shell. We've got 2, we need to get to 8, or get to 10, and we can have up to 8 there. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've filled up that second shell with 8, and we are up to 10 where we need to be. This is the Bohr model of that nitrogen ion. Good work, y'all. All right, so we are talking today about recognizing and predicting patterns. So what I'd like you guys to start by doing is take a look at these 3 rows here, all right? You'll notice that the last space, there should be a block, but it is blank. What I want you guys to do is predict what block, which of these 8 blocks would go in this space based on what you see happening here, okay? All right, so the correct answer is actually block number 7. So with that understanding, How would you explain that number 7 would be the best one that goes there? All right, so what many of you guys noticed is that and what you talked about is the fact that there is a pattern. So in the first column, we just have a set of 2. In the second column, you have another set of boxes that are filled. The third column, though, that's where things get interesting. What you should notice is that the third column in each row is a combination of what was found in the previous 2 boxes. So the same boxes are over here filled in the bottom one as are in the last one as are in the previous ones. So corner, 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 all 4 corners are filled. So what that means here, if it's middle on the top and the bottom, if it's middle on the right and the left, you should have the middle in the top right, bottom, and left filled, which is number 7. So many of you guys talked about, I noticed a pattern. So what exactly is a pattern? Great. So a pattern is a repeated design or image or numeric value that is repeats over and over again, and that allows you to make predictions because there is a regular pattern. So what are some examples that you can think of some patterns? So some of the ones that you guys thought about is that a pattern would be like your daily schedule or your daily routine. A pattern might be a trend that you can follow and you know how it's going to go. A pattern might be a design of repeated shapes, geometry like you see inside of a honeycomb, traffic patterns for planes or cars, a pattern that you use to guide how you make something and you can repeat making it over and over again, or the patterns that we see happening with the COVID cases right now, right? All of these things, it is easy to predict what comes next because there is some sort of repetition and some sort of baseline. So the cool thing is that the periodic table was actually originally organized purely based on a series of patterns related to the characteristics of the elements. Now, this dude, Dmitry Mendeleev, that we're going to talk about a little bit next week, he not all of the elements were found, but based on the patterns of these characteristics, he was able to predict what elements would be coming next or what should be next purely based on the patterns that he saw. So we're going to continue to explore patterns to prepare us to now turn our eye to the periodic table in the next week. So what you guys are going to be doing is you need to go to your Google Classroom and you need to find number 53, pattern card sort. Okay, so if we go and we find that assignment, all right, and we open it up, what you should notice is there are 2 assignments there. We have the card sort and we have the finish the pattern. All right, so the card sort looks like this. You'll notice that there are a set of cards. They can move around. They have shapes and colors and sizes and circles and numbers and all of these things on there. And there's 8 cards with something on it. There's 1 card that is blank. That 1 card is blank on purpose. What you're going to do is you're going to organize these cards into some sort of shape or organization or structure that allows you to see all of the different possible patterns. Using that setup and all of those patterns that you're able to identify, you are then going to predict what should be on this blank card. You are going to tell me your prediction in this, in the other assignment that is attached on Google Classroom. All right, it's a form and you're going to tell me what should be on that card. Okay? So, your steps are to move these cards around, start to identify the patterns, and organize those cards into a structure that shows all of the patterns. And then you're going to use this pattern and layout to predict what should be on the blank card. Okay, I am going to be grading you based on if you can organize them the way that you're supposed to, as well as be able to predict what should be on the card. All right, so that's pretty much it for today. We're going to finish with this. Tell me in 1 minute, just to kind of time yourself or write for about a little bit, what was the most important thing that we learned from today's lesson? Great stuff, you all. Thanks for showing up today. Like I said, there are 5 total assignments for this week, 2 of which that went with lesson 22, and then the 2 that should be posted now for you for this lesson. Make sure, as always, that you watch the live lesson or the recorded lessons first before you attempt the assignments that are posted afterwards, because that might make them really confusing. The 2 new ones, like I said, are down here at the bottom, 53 and 54. One of the 54 is your Check for Understanding quiz. Please let me know if you have any questions about today's assignment or any other assignments. And if you don't have any more questions, I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much. Bye.